When I think of what it means to describe reset, reconnect, and recharge, for me, that means to maybe stop, slow down, and pause. Sometimes even reflect on how you're doing in the moment to kind of evaluate what it is that you want to be doing next or how you want to move forward.
When I think of reset, I think of maybe being re-inspired or motivated to jump back in.
When I think of the word reconnect, I think of all the things that maybe bring you strength and bring you joy, that add value to your life, to promote your wellness in a lot of ways. And I think if you can do those two things, they recharge you naturally.
In order to reconnect to something, you have to disconnect from it first.
Hi, I'm Kathy Bingman, and I serve in the capacity as the Foster Care and Adoption Supervisor for James City County Department of Social Services. For me, I think it is about being aware and having self-insight of where you need to fill your cup, what things do you need to do in your life to be fulfilled, and how do you go about getting those things. It's a daily discipline, not a single source or act. And it's important that we do that, know for ourselves what fills us up, and make sure that we take time, not just as an event, but daily to reconnect.
How often am I reminded to reset, reconnect, and recharge? As a helping professional, I would say at least 5 times a week. We tend to take in a lot of other people's stress. We hold a space for other people's pain. And if you don't necessarily recharge yourself to the next day, for example, sometimes it can be hard to be fully present.
At least once a day to kind of take a little breather in some way, shape, or form.
When my cup overfills in a not positive manner, usually I get teary-eyed. Like, that's what I know that I really need to step back and just take a minute. And that's one of the ways that my body signals to me. I think another way is that if I am too busy or too rushed and I'm not taking care of myself, I'll forget to do simple things like have lunch. And so it's important, then I will get the stomach pangs and want to make sure that I eat.
It can feel like you're swimming, and if you're getting tired, you're almost just kind of like fighting to stay above the water, even if it's not like a completely overwhelming fear of something horrible happening. It can still be you are almost just going through the motions and just trying to get through to the next day and the next day so that you can get to whatever minor break you might be able to have from the weekend.
I'm big on patterns. I'm big on correlations. And I can tell you that over time, I've kind of noticed that I have a tendency to withdraw, a tendency to become more guarded in those times. And so I remember a time in my professional work when I felt like I was giving my all, and I feel like I'm a person that gives their all 110% of the time. I kind of equate myself to a person that likes to go running. It doesn't matter if it's uphill, downhill, sideways, but I like to be moving forward in some capacity. And sometimes when it feels like you're running on a treadmill and there's no forward movement, forward progress, that's when I recognize that I'm starting to feel a little different and need to kind of do something for myself and focus on my wellness instead.
I think for me, to reset, reconnect, and recharge is really something intentional, because really in the past, it's been something that has happened that's kind of crept up on me, I guess, because sometimes I've been too caught up in trying again to help others or be there for other people that you can sometimes miss the signs in yourself.
I suppose my head, I guess. It depends on what the thing is, but it could be head or chest area.
Can you say specifically what is it you're feeling?
Anxious, I guess. Anxious, overwhelmed.
Yeah, I really don't know the answer to that question. I've been doing this for so long that it would hard for me to recall the actual point in which we started talking about self-care, not as an event to be scheduled, but a daily discipline. I know that's become more of a thing, especially since going through the pandemic, but I know that it happened much before that, but I can't really tell you exactly at a point in time where I knew that to be true.
Everything's connected. Every, actions have an effect on your thoughts have an effect on your actions. It's a very, everything's connected, and it's not, I think it's a little bit of everything. That can build up. So it could be internal, it could be external, and the external things can kind of affect your mood, and your mood can kind of affect how you it can kind of put like a bit of a filter on, over your eyes, so that you're yourself, so that you're experiencing things in a somewhat constantly, even if it's incremental, it can be kind of a constantly creeping thing, that you don't realize again until you're able to kind of take that step back.
It's a lot of fleeting thoughts that I don't feel connected or grounded to the task at hand, or it becomes too overwhelming to even stop to think about all the things that need to be done in a given day. For me, that's when I can feel like that I need to just take a step back and reset.
A few adjectives describe what that feels like. I think I start to withdraw. I'm become more guarded. I'm even more grouchy, irritable, or moody. I don't have the same capacity and patience with others that I do when I'm in a better mood. Irritable, grouchy, moody, and lackadaisical. I just don't care as much about whatever it is that I'm supposed to be putting my heart into.
It's springtime, and one of the things that I love to do to take time for myself is to dive into my hobbies. And my springtime hobby is gardening and planting and doing all of those things. And so I know that I have a couple of friends that I connect with to do that together in community. So we're doing that, and that's been wonderful. Things I do is make sure that I am intentional about having breakfast with my family before I leave for the day, so that we all are filling our cups with love and joy first thing in the morning.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Thank you. So for me this week, an example of resetting, reconnecting, or recharging has just been something as simple as taking my lunch break every day, and really just taking that time, actually having lunch, stepping away from the office, stepping away from my cell phone and technology, and just really trying to soak in that hour.
Go ahead, Bro.
What does resetting, reconnecting, or recharging look like for me this week? Just happens to be a great week to do so. My oldest child turned 5 a couple of days ago. And so actively pushing away electronics, being fully present with him, especially at his birthday party, enjoying the park myself, running around with the kids and doing the jungle gyms and trying to play tag and things of that nature was a way for me to do that for this week in particular.
I try to schedule certain times during the day when I can do things like go to the gym or read, or so I mean, not really schedule, but play video games with some friends online, and especially, like everybody was saying, it's been beautiful the last couple of days outside, so I'm able to take a walk outside with my dog.
As far as resetting, reconnecting, and recharging being a privilege, I think it absolutely is a privilege depending on the situation. For example, as Robert was mentioning, there are lots of people out there who don't have the time to take away from work, for example, or single parents that can't get away from their families because they're the primary caretaker, the primary caregiver, sole provider even, for example. And what does that look like after you get your children to bed? It's probably getting them ready for the next day, right? So when they have a chance to stop and slow down, you think about people who maybe want to take a break from work, but do they have PTO lined up? Does their employer offer that when they start, or do you have to accumulate it and earn it? What happens if you get sick and you can't afford the medical bills? So it absolutely can be a privilege, and is a privilege to a large majority of people. But that doesn't take away the fact that for some people individually, you can find your own ways to recharge. And that's just a personal preference. Some people might need a whole day. Some people might need a few hours. Some people might need a few minutes to get back to a place where they really can, with like grounding activities or things of that nature. So while I wholeheartedly believe that it is a privilege, I also still think that people can find small ways where they can to also try and recharge and reset themselves and reconnect. But it's not always easy. It's definitely not easy.
Some people are just not able to take the time for themselves. It's like she said, you have to have time, you have to have resources, you have to have, there's a lot of things, unfortunately, that you almost need in our society to be able to have some time for yourself. I think we are kind of moving this direction slowly, but I think it is happening. We're starting to kind of see how important community is for that kind of stuff. Because even if you don't have the resources or the time to, do it by yourself, there are tons of people out there who are able to help out, and hopefully we'll be able to maybe lend either their time or resources to help you get that time for yourself.
A small example, the other day I saw a woman that had her hands full trying to manage 2 children with one hand and carry her groceries with the other. And I simply just asked her if she didn't mind, if she would like me to either stand with them or if she wanted me to just hold her groceries while she did one or the other. And sometimes it just takes a small moment of being human again, and seeing what other people may need and not being fearful that they may reject you. If she says no, then that's her prerogative, but I at least wanted to extend the offer because I saw that she might need the help.
I appreciate you giving that example, Prowl, because I think that's a worthy example to kind of highlight. I might edit all what you said just down to that example, just because of it's poignant. It's poignant in this area of whether or not there's a privilege to resetting and connecting and recharging. It's like there's smaller ways than we sometimes think that we can help someone.